We're remodeling this 100-year-old house, and it has these really nice old big sash windows, but you can see that nothing is holding this up because the ropes that are tied to a sash weight broke. And so what we're going to do is we're going to replace these ropes and reconnect them to the weights and then connect them to the sash windows. So the first step is you want to remove the window stops that hold the window in place. So just using a pull and pry bar, and this is one of the best tools you can use for this, is we're going to remove the stops on both sides. So not only is this pull and pry bar great for pulling off the wood, but any nails that are left in place, it has a couple of notched areas where you can just lock onto a nail and pull it out. So a very handy tool. Once we have the stops removed, we're just going to lift out the whole window and remove it. Now I'm going to pull a couple other nails and then we'll open it up and find the weight. So you can see how the sash rope is held in place. It has a slot that's grooved into the window and it has a hole. And sometimes you're going to have a nail or a screw that's holding that in place. But in this case, we just have a knot that held in place. So we'll just pull this out. So now if you were having a problem with the upper window and you needed to replace the window sash rope for it, you would replace this middle stop. You would pull this out and then that would free that upper window. So there's going to be a little door, a little panel to get in behind this wood where the weight is. This one's held in place by a Phillips screw. You're going to have some held in place by nails or different types of screws. But I removed the screw and now I'll pry at this. So for this door, it's actually notched, so I had to pull this center stop out a little bit, and then what it did was it exposed the weight inside the window. That's a weight. I went to the hardware store and I bought some sash rope, and what I'm going to do is just feed it down over this roller, and I'm going to feed it down until it reaches this hole, and then I'm going to pull it through. Once you drop it down through the body of the window and you have it, so I pull it through that opening, and I'm just going to tie it to the weight now. We'll pull that nut tight, and then once that weight sets on it, it's going to hold tight. So now we're going to put the weight back into the body of the window. And there you go. It's ready for the window. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a mark at the top of where that knot is going to be. And I'm just using a pencil. In fact, I'm using these AccuTracks. This is a graphite blade that I put into a knife body, and it's just always sharp, very convenient tool. So now that I know where the top of that knot is, I'm going to put the window back in place, and I'm going to lock it so it doesn't fall. And now I'm going to pull this rope all the way to the top, and now the weight is all the way at the top. I'm going to drop it about 3 inches. And now I'm going to come down where my mark is, and I know that I want the top of my knot right about here. So that's how we'll know where we're going to cut our rope and tie our knot. So I just looped a temporary knot here to hold my length of cord in place, and now I'm just going to take a pair of diagonal pliers and I'm going to just cut our sash rope below the mark I made, and we're going to tie this into a knot, and we want the top of that knot to be right at that mark. So I tied a nice double knot on the end of the cord, and I'm going to put this into the hole and that slot on the side, and I check it, it's locked in place, and now I'm going to do the same on the other side. Now I have the sash rope on both sides, and I'm just going to double check so it goes all the way down and there's a little bit of room on top, and then we'll just make sure that it goes all the way up. So looks good, and you can see that it holds it up nice. Now all we're going to do is lock this in place, and we'll put our wood stops on both sides. So first I'm actually going to tap in the center stop in place. We'll put in this door first, I'll screw it in place, I'll tap this over it, and then we'll put our wood in front of it. So when I put my window stop in, to make sure that you don't pinch the window when you're trying to pull it up, I measured the bottom, and now it moves good on the bottom, so I have one nail almost all the way in on the bottom, and then I'm going to lift the window all the way up, and then I'm going to adjust the width here. If I were to nail this in while the window was down, I could possibly be pushing it too tight and pinch it. So now I'll put my other finishing nails in, and the window will move up and down very easily. I'll share another trick. We have a couple of bent nails in this stop, and an easy way to pull out, since they're finished nails and it's very difficult to grab the heads with a pull and pry bar or even a claw hammer, you can just use a channel lock with a beveled head, and when you grab it and then pull it down and rotate it on that beveled head, it pulls the nails out very easily. So just an excellent tool for removing finishing nails if you can't get it with a pull and pry bar. So that's all there is to it to change the sash rope on an old window.